Hello, this is Randall Root. This video is about accessing the Dreamspark account that you'll set up with at your various colleges. In this example, we'll take a look at how an email is sent from the University of Washington, but all the colleges around the Sound pretty much work the same way. So the Dreamspark accounts are set up where you have an administrator at the individual college, and the college should send you out an email. It is pretty typical for it to show up in the junk or spam section of your email, so you must always check that. But for example, I've got one here from the University of Washington. It tells me that it's an automated message. It gives me the links to follow and instructions on what to do. So I would click on the link to the web store. It should bring up a page. And at that point, I would start typing in my email account. Now, the deal is that the password I normally use to log on to that email account won't work because it's not a valid username and password for the web store. We need the web store login. It's actually detailed in the message, but you have to kind of read through it. So it says something about here, if you're redirected to the institutional's internal site, you sign in to that. So if I was using the UW, it would be directed over to my UW. In this case, though, I was not redirected to the my UW page. So what I want to do is I want to look a little further and see that if you're directed to the web store sign-in, but you don't remember your password, click on the link below. And that is indeed the one I want. So I click on that link, put in my name, or my email address, excuse me, submit, and a password should be sent to my account here in a minute. Now it's just a matter of coming over here and looking. And put in my username again. And finally come up with some cool password that nobody can figure out. And the password should be reset. It should be a login to my account. Now, once you're on there, you'll be able to go through and download various pieces of software. For most of the classes that I teach, you will need to download the developer tools, either Visual Studio 2010, 2012, or it's very unlikely at this point that 2013 will be something that the classrooms are loaded with. So I doubt we'll be teaching out that for a little bit. But when the day comes, of course, it'll be that one. It'll be announced as far as which version you'll need. Expect it to be announced on the first day of class. Keep in mind that typically these things are backwards compatible, so if you install the newer one, it'll probably work just fine. The other thing in most of my classes that you'll need is a copy of Microsoft SQL Server. Let me scroll down here and see if I can spot it. Quite a lot of development software. Nice. It changes every quarter, so let's see if I can find it under popular. Maybe it's a little thinner here. Visual Studio. Oh, I was looking right at it. SQL Server. Now, when you get to the SQL Server option, there's a lot of different choices. But the one you want is the developer choice. It's the most flexible. It also has all the features you would get from their Enterprise Edition. And the idea is to let developers develop code that would run on any version of SQL. So it's the most flexible. That is the one you want. You may be a little confused because you may be in one of my business intelligence classes and thinking to yourself, well, wouldn't I just download the business intelligence? Well, that would seem obvious, but no, the developer has those features. So you really want the developer one. There's a lot of other great software available to you, and I would recommend you explore it and see what you can get. The software can be installed and used while you're a student. I think there's actually a grace period after the time that you stop being a student. Nowadays, I believe Microsoft asks you to remove the software after that length of time, but it's a pretty healthy length of time. And if you go through and look at the help and read through the licensing agreements, it will explain it. Anyway, hopefully that will help. So, for example, let's say I want to go through and download the latest Visual Studio. So, let's see, I see Visual Studio 2013 is available. That sounds great. Actually, I'm thinking I should download 2012 first. Now, on this particular machine, I have Visual Studio 2010. So before I download 2013 and install it, I probably want to download 2012 and install it if I want that on this particular machine. And of course the reason is that if you've installed Visual Studio 2012 first and then install 2013 first, excuse me, and then install 2012 after the fact, the problem was that the developers who wrote the installation programs for 2013 might have expected that 2012 would be on the machine, and it was tested for that, or 2010 for that matter. But the people that wrote Visual Studio 2012's installation software certainly wouldn't have been able to check for the installation of 2013, so it could never have been tested to see what kind of compatibility would be associated with that. Anyway, it comes down to this. Always load the older software first. So before I try to load 2013, I want to go ahead and download 2012. And that, of course, is only if I think that I need to have both. I'm going to go ahead and choose the Ultimate Edition. Probably I do not need it. The Premium or Professional Edition will probably be fine in most cases. The reason why I might do it is just because I teach such a variety of classes. But I'll go ahead and click on that link. It'll bring me to the next section, in which case I'll go ahead and download this. So let's see here. We have the web installer or just the standard download. I'll go ahead and choose the standard download. So I'll check that out. I'll carefully read this. Apparently I'm a speed reader. And I'll have to fill in my information here. And perhaps I'd want to see the emails. I don't know. I get a lot of those anyway, so I'll just go ahead and process the order. Now, that's all done. I should be able to start the download. So there's a secure download manager. Basically, you have to download that and install it first. After you've already done that, you will be able to just go ahead and download the secure download manager XML file, and then later on just launch the file. So let's see here. I went downloads, and I have this under like work files, so I'll put it in there. You can see I have a few of these SDX files already. And I'm going to change this because I'll never remember what the heck that number means. So I'm going to call it VS Ultimate 2012. And then the file itself is really, really tiny. Of course, downloading the files is much larger. So now that I've done that, I'll double click on it, and this should start the Secure Download Manager software. Now, the deal is, guys, is that the Secure Download Manager software has to have been installed first before this will open up like this, and if not, you'll have to download it and get it going. So I'll continue. And it looks like I have to update my version. Looks like I have an older version. Okay, well, I'll download that too. I save it to the drive. Well, I got a bunch of stuff in here. And I'll go through and install the newer version. So let's go back here and see what we got. Now I'm going to try this again, and I expect a different thing to happen. Aha! That's what we're looking for. So let's see here, gang. We want to go ahead and Visual Studio, the first one, and then there looks like there's an update after the fact. So it looks like we want to get the first one started. And that's going to take its sweet time because it's pretty large. I have a good pipeline here coming in at my home, so this shouldn't take too long, but certainly it's going to take longer than what we want to watch on a video. So I'm going to go ahead and let that cook, and I will come back in a few minutes. It took a while, I think about 15 minutes or so, but eventually got done. When it was, it came here to well done. Now, if you choose the launch option, basically what it does is it takes you over to where the files are at, and they're right here. And you'll see that it is a ISO file. And the idea is that an ISO file allows you to go through and burn the contents of this file onto a DVD. You can kind of see that right here, DVD. When you get your receipt, it'll give you the product key. It'll also give you a link to instructions on how to burn the ISO file on there. And then after you click on that, click on something else, and eventually it should go over to the University of Washington download PDF file, which occasionally just isn't available. However, don't fret, there's another way around this. One thing that's not really well advertised is the fact that if you download a free product called 7-Zip, which I think many people already know about, and it's extremely popular, it allows you to go ahead and extract these files out. And basically what happens is that it would be as if you copied all the files off the DVD over to your hard drive and then did the installation. And that, for the most part, works just fine. So now at that point, I would just go ahead and right-click, run as administrator, and start the installation just as if it was on a drive. And it saves you from having to burn the disk. But anyway, once I have gone through and done that, it will start my installation, and I'll put in all the various different features I want, and so on. And off it goes. Remember that the product key is sent in the receipt, so you'll have to get the product key from that. So make sure you copy it. I typically copy it and put it into a text file so that it's easy for me to find again. And then you just run through the installation of whatever software you got. It'll take a while to do so. After this is done, I would go back and download the other piece of software I wanted, which would be the update. So I'd want to go ahead and follow the same process to do that. Anyway, it's not exactly a straightforward, simple process per se. There's a lot of steps, but hopefully this video will help you get past it. I've been working with Dreamspark for a lot of years, and all the students eventually get it. It just can be a struggle sometimes. So hopefully this will take out some of that struggle. Enjoy your new software.